Let's talk delinquent tax sale lists. How do we get them? What do we do with them? And what's the process to actually start getting yourself some properties? And what are some surprising ways to make money on delinquent tax sales that you didn't know about? That's what I'm going to be talking about today. So let's start with the list. It's pretty simple. Pretty much every county in America has to do something to collect on their past due real estate taxes. So many of them sell properties at tax deed auctions. These are publicly advertised sales. And these days, almost all the lists are online. And it could be as simple as putting in a search, delinquent tax sales, such and such county, such and such state. So delinquent tax sale, DeKalb County, Georgia. Delinquent tax sale, Franklin County, Ohio. Delinquent tax sale, Orange County, Florida. And what'll happen is that look around, you'll see the list of foreclosures that are coming up. Now, depending on the jurisdiction, some hold them weekly, some hold sales monthly, some hold sales annually. All of them that do tax deed foreclosures do them at least annually though. And this is a way that you can buy properties inexpensively. Typically things are going for anywhere from 50 to 80% of retail value, depending on its condition, depending on its desirability neighborhood, depending on where it is. But that's kind of the range. So you can get some really good deals. If you can buy a house for half off, that's a pretty good deal. Even if you can buy a house for 20% off, that is a pretty good deal, much better than you're going to do through a realtor. So that's how you get the list. And a couple things to know about these lists. Sometimes the lists are a little mysterious because you look and you say, wait a minute. All I see is this number, might say folio number or tax ID number. And I see an opening bid and I see when the sale is, but how do I deal with this? So in those lists, they're just giving you the tax assessor's account number and you need to convert that to an address. So the way that you do that, go on the tax assessor's website, just type in the folio number, which can also be called tax ID number or parcel identifier number. What it is though is the tax assessor's account number. You put that in and then it'll pull up the tax assessor's record, which typically includes the current owner of the property, the address of the property, and other information like whether it has a house on it, how big it is, what it's zoned, those kinds of things. What you want to do is just convert, if it's just the folio number, just convert that to an address. And then your next step is to start screening through the properties. And there are a couple things to know here. First, if there are 100 properties advertised for sale, by the time the auction comes around, you're probably going to have 5 or 6 that you're really going to be interested in bidding on and you're going to get any opportunity to bid on. You might say, well, how does that happen? How do we get from 100 to like 5 or 6? Well, it's really straightforward. The way that happens is that a lot of people at the last minute pay their taxes or they file a bankruptcy to avoid the tax sale. So when you see the list, it's published about 45 days prior to the sale. So during that 45-day period, people are scrambling and paying their taxes. They know now is the time. The executioner's axe is coming. They're going to lose ownership of that house if they don't do something, so they do. So most of the properties that have value in them are going to have the taxes paid. That's not all the properties, though. It's only some of them. So what you do when you get your list, just start doing electronic due diligence. Start looking at it and saying, you pull it up on Google Street View, which you go to Google Maps and then just drag the little image of the person onto the screen and you'll see the street. So look on Google Street View and say, is this a neighborhood I'd be interested in owning a house in? Let me look at the house, I'm interested in that house. You can know if it's vacant land. You can learn a lot just from that. And what your goal is here is not to choose the ones you're actually going to bid on yet. It's just to cross off the ones you have no interest in. And there are useless properties sold at tax sale. You see ones that are underwater, ones that are landlocked, that don't have any street access, have no water or sewer, so they're not useful properties. So there's lots of junk, so you just want to just screen out properties. And then as the time goes on, you're going to screen down to say you had a list of 1,000, maybe you now are down to 500 properties that you have any interest in. Then pull the list again, and what you're going to see is that they've removed the properties from the list that are no longer going up for sale because someone's either filed a bankruptcy, made a payment arrangement, paid the taxes, did something. And then you whittle your list of 500, that's probably down to 100. And then 3 or 4 days prior to the auction, then you're going to do some drive-by tours. What that means is you physically drive by the properties, you look at them, you check them out, at least from the outside, and you see if this is something you're interested in. You don't have any open houses or anything like that in tax sales. There's no permission to go on the property. So you can, if you're brave, you can go knock on the door or walk up to it. But that's not really the way this game is played. You do, if you can, go walk around the property and go knock on the door, but don't expect to you're not getting like a home inspection or anything like that. This is homeowners losing their property. What you can do is talk to someone, see if they have plans, see if they're interested in selling it before the sale, just talk to them. And most importantly for you and your business, get an assessment of what the condition is like. Even just looking in the windows, you can get an idea, is it occupied or vacant? If it's vacant and it's sat over a winter in a cold weather climate, well, it's probably going to have some real problems like broken pipes that could be in there. So you get an idea of the property. What you're trying to do in these drive-by tours is identify the ones you're interested in and also look around if they're houses for sale, find out how much the asking price is. So you can start getting an assessment of what value is. Anyway, in those last 3 or 4 days prior, you're going to see all of the properties. Again, cross off ones you're not interested in, take notes on ones you're interested in, and then do your final due diligence, which is check comparables, see what things are selling for and going for in the neighborhood. Again, that's electronic these days. You can go to realtor.com, you go to Zillow, you can go to those sites and see what places are selling for. Now, I wouldn't make my investment decision based on what Zillow says it's worth and their estimate, but it's information. And you can see, all right, this one's a 3-bedroom or 4-bedroom, 3.5 bath. Oh, here are some other 4-bedroom, 3.5 baths. They seem to go for between $225 and $250 depending on condition. Okay, if you got 4 or 5 houses like that have sold within the past 6 months to a year, you'd have a pretty fair assessment of what houses are worth in that neighborhood. And that would tell you what the fixed up value of your house is. And sometimes, surprisingly enough, when you look on Zillow or realtor.com, you'll see the very property you're looking at because it's been listed for sale in the past. So they have a bunch of photos and information. Now the photos will be out of date, but they still give you some good information. They'll tell you number of bedrooms, number of baths, square feet, so good information. Then you are ready to go to the sale. And at the sale, the one thing I would tell you, don't get bidder's fever. You set your maximum price and stick to it. If someone else wants to pay more because they see more value or maybe they're an end user and it's not an investment for them, let them. Don't just be competitive or like, oh, I'm going to get that property. It's not about that. It's about getting a good deal, not about just winning a bid. It's about getting a good deal. And if you're a newer investor, the most important thing is to pay the right price, which is a low price, so that you build in your profit. If you pay too high a price, you're probably not going to get bailed out. Unless you're in a market that's rapidly rising, you're going to end up with an investment that you're not happy with. So just be patient. Good investors are patient. They strike when the deal is right, and they don't strike when the deal is bad. And I'll just tell you a quick story about that. My son has decided he wanted to learn how to play Texas Hold'em poker. So I was like, I don't know how to play poker, but I'll try it. So we started doing it. And what I realized, one of my assessments of the game is, when you get the good hand, then you add to your pot and you start bidding up. When you don't have the good hand, if you got a bad set of cards, either fold or get out with your minimal loss. Don't try to make something where there's nothing. And I would say in investing in real estate, you want to put down your money when it truly is a good deal, when the price is right, when you have the good cards on the table. When you have 2 bad cards to start with, I have a 3 of hearts and a 9 of spades. These have nothing to do with one another. These are not good start. Just cut your losses, meaning don't even bid on the property. Or if someone's paid too much, let them pay too much. I think that's a good lesson for life. Hopefully this is useful for you. You learned a little about getting the delinquent tax sale list, a little bit about tax sales. I'll give you 2 resources. One, there's a way to buy these properties without going to the sale at all, where there's no competition. We just get lists of available properties with the price. If you want it, you just pay that price. It's great. My friend Tony came up with that system. It is amazing. I wish I had known this when I first started with tax sales. A link to that is down below. You see the interview with Tony. Go watch that. It's 20 minutes and it is eye-opening. This guy is a world-class expert. And if you want to go further learning with him, you can. Second thing, if you want to learn about the overages business, I'll put a link down below. You can see Intro to the Overages Business. That's 10 minutes. I talk about what I do. That's the opposite side of tax sales. That's after the tax sale is done, helping the homeowners get back on their feet by getting some extra money in a service business. That's a pretty cool business too. That's not buying real estate. It's a service business where you make lump sums of cash. I like it. It's my favorite business, and you can learn more about it there. No matter what you do, I'd encourage you to continue forward with this. Delinquent tax sales is a great area to be in, very lucrative investment area for people that know what they're doing. So get educated and you can be successful in delinquent tax sales. So great being with you here today. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. And if you have questions, put them down below. I'll get to questions as I can. Thanks, and I'll see you next time.